Imagine trying to navigate through a city where the streets feel like they were designed by a drunk cartographer. Welcome to Boston, where the roads twist and turn in ways that defy all logic, leaving even GPS systems confused. If you've ever driven here, you know the struggle. One wrong turn, and suddenly you're on a one-way street heading in the opposite direction of where you need to go. Unlike most American cities with neat grids, Boston's layout is a chaotic maze, a relic from its colonial past. The streets evolved from old cow paths, meaning they were never planned for cars, let alone modern traffic. Instead of wide, orderly avenues, you get narrow, winding roads that change names mid-block, dead end unexpectedly, or lead you straight into a rotary. But the madness doesn't stop there. Boston's infamous Big Dig, a decades-long tunnel project meant to ease congestion, only added to the confusion with its ever-changing detours and staggering $15 billion price tag. Even locals joke that driving in Boston requires equal parts skill, patience, and blind luck. Pedestrians aren't spared either. Crosswalks often seem to appear out of nowhere, and jaywalking is practically an Olympic sport. Yet, for all of its baffling quirks, Boston remains one of America's most historic and charming cities. With its rich Revolutionary War history, world-class universities, and die-hard sports fans, it's a place where frustration and fascination go hand in hand. You just might need a map, a prayer, and a deep sense of humor to survive its streets. Picture a city designed to be a futuristic utopia, only to end up feeling more like a lifeless puzzle. That's Brasília, Brazil's purpose-built capital, an architectural marvel on paper, but a logistical nightmare in practice. In the 1950s, Brazil wanted a modern capital that symbolized progress. So, they hired renowned architect Oscar Niemeyer and urban planner Lúcio Costa to create an entirely new city from scratch. Brasília was designed in the shape of an airplane, with government buildings in the cockpit, residential areas in the wings, and commercial districts in the fuselage. Sounds brilliant, right? Well, in reality, living in this masterpiece is a daily struggle. Brasília's wide-open spaces are meant to evoke freedom and order, but instead make everything feel eerily distant. Sidewalks? Almost non-existent. Public transportation? Limited. Walking to a store or cafe? Nearly impossible. The city was built for cars, not people, forcing residents into long commutes and isolating neighborhoods. Doesn't that sound like a commuter's worst nightmare? Despite its striking architecture, Brasília often feels more like a grand exhibition than a functional city. Locals joke that it's a place designed for photos, not for life. While it serves as Brazil's political heart, it lacks the organic street life, cultural vibrancy, and accessibility found in cities that grew naturally. Brasília proves that a city can be visually stunning, yet completely impractical. It's a reminder that urban planning isn't just about aesthetics, it's about making life easier for the people who actually live there. Suppose you built a paradise by the sea, only to watch it transform into something completely different. That's the story of Venice, California, a city that began as a dream of canals and culture, but evolved into a chaotic mix of beachside glamour, urban grit, and counterculture weirdness. In 1905, millionaire Abbot Kinney envisioned Venice as the Venice of America, complete with canals, gondolas, and European charm. And for a while, it worked. Tourists flocked to the stunning waterways and boardwalk. But soon, Los Angeles absorbed the town, paving over many of the canals to make way for cars. Doesn't that sound like a city losing its soul? By the mid-20th century, Venice fell into decline. It became a haven for artists, surfers, and counterculture icons, earning the nickname Slum by the Sea. Then came the skaters, the street performers, and the eccentric characters who made Venice Beach world famous. Today, it's a surreal mashup of high-end boutiques, homelessness, tech billionaires, and a boardwalk where anything goes. For all of its contradictions, Venice remains one of the most fascinating cityscapes in America. It's a place where bohemians and tech moguls share the same streets, where murals cover every surface, and where you're never quite sure if you'll stumble upon a street musician or a viral influencer. Venice may not be the utopia Kinney imagined, but it's something far wilder, a living, breathing contradiction by the sea. What happens when a city is designed like a perfect machine, but feels anything but alive? That's the paradox of Chandigarh, India's first planned city and one of the most controversial urban experiments in the world. Built in the 1950s, Chandigarh was envisioned as a utopian metropolis, designed by legendary architect Le Corbusier. Wide boulevards, neatly divided sectors, and modernist buildings gave it an ultra-organized look, like a city drawn with a ruler. But there's a catch. For all its order, Chandigarh often feels sterile, lacking the chaotic charm that defines most Indian cities. Doesn't that sound like a city too perfect to be real? Unlike Delhi or Mumbai, there are no twisting alleys, no street vendors spilling onto the roads, and no ancient markets buzzing with life. Everything is structured, too structured. Each sector is self-contained, separated by green belts, and designed to reduce congestion. But that also means longer travel times, a car-dependent culture, and a city that often feels disconnected. Despite its robotic design, Chandigarh thrives. It boasts India's highest per capita income, lush gardens, and a sense of peace rare in urban India. Yet, for all of its beauty, it remains an experiment, one that proves cities need more than just good planning. They need soul, spontaneity, and a little chaos. So, was Chandigarh a success or a warning? That depends on whether you prefer perfection or the beautiful mess of real life. What happens when a city has no laws, no planning, and no limits? You get Kowloon Walled City, the most densely packed, chaotic, and mind-boggling urban jungle in history. For decades, this tiny patch of land in Hong Kong defied every rule of urban planning. Over 30,000 people crammed into just 6.4 acres. Living in a maze of illegally built high-rises stacked so tightly that sunlight barely reached the lower levels. Narrow, dimly lit alleyways twisted through the city, packed with homes, factories, clinics, and even unlicensed dentists operating in near-total anarchy. Doesn't that sound like something out of a dystopian movie? With no official government oversight, Kowloon became a world of its own, self-sustained, self-regulated, and completely lawless. Despite its terrifying reputation, crime wasn't as rampant as outsiders believed. Families lived in tight quarters, small businesses thrived, and an unspoken code of survival kept things running. By the 1990s, the Hong Kong government finally decided Kowloon Walled City had to go. Demolition began in 1993, wiping out decades of history in favor of a peaceful park. But its legend lives on as a symbol of human resilience, chaos, and what happens when a city is left to grow unchecked. So, was Kowloon Walled City an urban nightmare or an accidental masterpiece? That depends on whether you see it as a lawless slum or the ultimate example of survival against all odds. Did you know that Paris isn't just in France? That's right, there's a Paris in Texas, and while it may not have the Eiffel Tower, it has something even better. An Eiffel Tower wearing a cowboy hat. Because of course it does. Paris, Texas is a small town with a big personality. Founded in the 1840s, it was once a thriving hub of industry and culture. But instead of grand boulevards and world-famous art and museums, this Paris has barbecue joints, rodeos, and a whole lot of southern charm. Sounds like a strange mix, right? Well, that's the magic of it. Despite its quirky name, Paris, Texas has faced its share of hardships. A massive fire in 1916 destroyed much of the town, forcing it to rebuild from the ashes. And like many small American towns, it has struggled with economic decline and population loss. But that hasn't stopped it from embracing its identity. Today, its cowboy hat-wearing Eiffel Tower stands as a proud, tongue-in-cheek tribute to its European namesake. And while the real Paris may have baguettes, Paris, Texas has friendly locals, down-home cooking, and a stubborn resilience that makes it one of the most unique little towns in America. So, is Paris, Texas just a gimmick, or is it proof that even the smallest places can have the biggest character? That's for you to decide, but don't forget to tip your hat to the Eiffel Tower on your way out. A city built on water, leaning buildings, and a street layout that feels like a maze. Welcome to Amsterdam, where getting lost is part of the charm. With its canals, bridges, and bike-filled streets, this Dutch capital is as beautiful as it is baffling. At first glance, Amsterdam's design looks genius. Its canals form neat concentric rings, earning it the nickname, the Venice of the North. But try navigating it, and suddenly, you realize why even locals rely on landmarks instead of street names. Many roads look identical, some bridges lead you in circles, and worst of all, there's the sheer unpredictability of cyclists zooming past from every direction. And let's not forget the infamous leaning houses. Amsterdam's swampy foundation, many buildings tilt slightly forward, creating a cityscape that looks straight out of a funhouse. The Dutch insist it's intentional, but one good push and you'd swear they're about to topple. Despite its confusing layout, Amsterdam's design has stood the test of time. The canals help control flooding, the bike-friendly streets reduce traffic congestion, and the compact nature of the city makes everything feel within reach. So, while it may take a while to figure out where you're going, You'll probably enjoy every wrong turn along the way. After all, in a city where every street looks like a postcard, getting lost isn't a problem. It's an adventure. Is it a city or a glimpse into the future? Songdo, South Korea isn't just another urban center. It's a master-planned smart city designed from the ground up to be the most high-tech, eco-friendly metropolis on the planet. Built on reclaimed land near Incheon, Songdo is what happens when urban planners get a blank slate and an unlimited imagination. The city boasts automated waste systems, sensor-controlled traffic, and buildings so energy efficient that they seem straight out of a sci-fi movie. Every home is wired with smart technology, and public parks cover nearly 40% of the landscape, making it as green as it is advanced. Sounds perfect, right? Well, there's one problem. Songdo feels eerily empty. Despite its futuristic design and billions spent on development, the city struggles to attract the population it was built for. Some blame its high cost of living, while others say it lacks the cultural vibrancy of Seoul. A smart city may run flawlessly, but can it ever feel alive without the chaos and spontaneity of traditional urban life? Still, Songdo remains a fascinating experiment, one that could shape how cities are built in the future. If humanity is headed towards hyper-connected, sustainable urban hubs, Songdo may just be the blueprint for what's to come. The question is, will people actually want to live in it? Which city layout baffled you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below and let us know if you'd like to see more stories of unusual urban designs. Thank you so much for watching.